Well, good morning, everybody. Not the normal standard of the rumour mill today, and I can only apologise for that. I've actually got a little bit of work somewhere else, doing a bit of freelancing today, which I'm very excited about, with Betfred again. Ole ole. So we're here talking about the transfer news this morning, everybody, and talking. Listen, if you didn't catch our show last night, mine and Gabe's, it was, I have to say, it was one of the best. An hour and 10 minutes of really good talk, discussion, and I love the hardline. It's becoming a real solid show, I think, and obviously when Brownie's back from his hollybobs, we will be starting White Noise again, but I'll keep you guys in tune with what's going on this week. So subscribe to the channel, we'll switch those notification bells on, because if you don't, you'll miss some bits. It happens every single time. People miss bits because they've not got that notification bell switched on. So as I say, I'll always get the room mill out, so here we are talking about it. So yeah, this morning, Isaac Johnson, I want to coin what Isaac said actually, and have a little bit of a discussion on it. He was speaking this morning about Dilane, Bakwa, and 40 million quid that apparently Leeds United are looking at, or around about 35 million quid for Dilane Bakwa. Sasha Tavaleri said over the weekend that Leeds United are leading the race when it comes to them and Nottingham Forest. It appears, when you're looking at other sources, when it comes to some of the really good ones in their sphere as well, the journalism sphere, that Nottingham Forest haven't given up hope yet. You know, you just think to yourself, guys, Forest have just got this abundance of players, this level of player going forward. Even when you you look at the wing areas, it's like, guys, do you need another forward? Do you need another winger for 35, 40 million? And look, they'd say yes, and that's going to push them on, but just leave some for us. Please leave some for us. Anyway, the news is obviously Leeds United are going to have to battle and somehow find around about 35 million quid, which obviously we know is a hell of a lot of money, but Leeds United haven't spent that much yet. You know, the most we've spent, if you're to believe reports, is in and around the money that we spent for the likes of Jacobiol, Anton Stack, and I think it's abundantly clear right now when we are looking at the 49ers and expenditure and output. They said they were going to get to the limit, and this is quite important now. It's an important period for Leeds United because I think we're all understanding that still in that final third, you know, we're still yet to see naturally an open play goal. But in that final third, yet there's still something which isn't quite there, isn't quite clicking. We've lost that pace and directness, and someone who would at least take a shot in Ramazani. He's obviously moving on. It looks like he's going to Valencia. Brilliant move for him, and completely expected him to go to that level. And hopefully in a year's time, a month's time, we'll be able to get a player back who's able to take it to that next level. Let's hope so anyway. But you just felt like you drastically missed at the weekend a little bit of pace, a little bit of ruthlessness, and ultimately Leeds United weren't able to obviously really conjure that much in attack apart from a Pascal Struijk header. But the whole overall point here is when you're looking at Dilane Bakwa, he is that pace, he is that exuberance, he is that X factor of which Leeds, I think, desperately missed in the final third. We were talking about this on the hardline last night, even when it just comes to standardised rotation. And you're bringing in Sam Byram at the Emirates, Elia Gruev at the base of a single pivot. It can't happen. It just cannot happen in the Premier League. I think we're all aware of this. So overall, looking on the bright side anyway, just talking about Dilane Bakwa, Isaac Johnson was mentioned this morning, that 30 million seems steep. It can't be steep. It simply cannot be steep. This has got to be something that Leeds United invest in when it comes to a player of said ability. Why? Because we always need that X factor. You need something behind the line. You need to replace Largi Ramazani. You know, that's what you have to do. That is just the bare minimum when it comes to adding to that front line. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As I said, Isaac Johnson this morning has said he feels that from his standpoint, and I don't know if he's got someone in his ear, but that feels a little bit steep. It shouldn't be steep. You know, 30 to 35 million quid shouldn't be steep. I'm going to hark you back to when certain teams stayed in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest, we're all looking at 2 or 3 years back here when it comes to the teams that successfully stayed in the Premier League and why. You look at Nottingham Forest bringing in Morgan Gibbs-White, Dean Henderson, Jesse Lingard, Taiwo Awonyu. You look at Bournemouth bringing in Neto, Zabeni, Antoine Semenyo. You know, already having Dominic Solanke. And then you look at the other side when you look at Fulham and you look at Willian, you look at Bernd Leno, you look at João Palhinha. Look at Carlos Vinicius. This is all in their first season when they were promoted to the Premier League. You've got to make strides. You've got to make investment. I get it's hard. I understand it's hard. But someone like Dilane, Bakwa could be the difference. And is it worth it, spending that money? I think it's got to that point now with Leeds United and the 49ers. Because obviously we know it's Underwood, we know it's Daniel Farke when it comes to the recruitment, and they work together to bring in the players. I know it's Underwood's. I've been a keen backer of Underwood and the 49ers and the recruitment team. But it's the last week now. It's the last week, and they need players. You know, James Justin, there's conversations about him coming in for 10 million quid. I do think they've overpaid a little bit for that. But it is what it is. It's not my money. If they can pay it, they can pay it. It looks like it's 8 million quid plus 2 million in instalments. Fine, whatever. But I think when you're kind of taking a little bit of a step back and thinking to yourself, in the attacking phase of play, we're kind of relying obviously on Dan James to be hitting the ground running. I think we've seen in the first 2 games a little bit that this look, it's not casting some you know, really like ruthless judgment on Dan James whatsoever, but this is going to be a step up from the Championship, where you get in the Championship 10 opportunities because you're dominant in possession. To run at a Championship fullback in the Premier League, you might need 1 or 2, which is why sometimes his decision making is going to be massively highlighted, because you just don't get as many chances. You're looking at front line as well, there's people still questioning Willian Yonto, which is fair enough, I do understand that. And then obviously you've got Noah Okafor, who is tried and he's tried and tested in a different league, but for the last 12 months it's not been a great 12 months for him. So Leeds, and Ramazani's obviously moved on, so Leeds United drastically need investment in that final third. You've got free transfers in Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Metcha who've come in. Obviously it's very dependent on who those free transfers are to be happy with them as a football club. You know, if it's a fantastic player coming in on a free transfer, context has to be applied, and I think DCL will be a good player for Leeds. But for me, you need a Demirovic, you need a Mitrovic, you need a player of that ilk. You know, you need someone up front who you can almost guarantee. We need guarantees. The amount of natural risks that you've got coming into the side, even with sort of James Justin, who would have been my pick, but Justin's injury record, obviously Noah Okafor's last 12 months haven't been great when it comes to physical readiness. You know, a young Willian Yonto was adapting last time out, so what will he be like? Dan James in the Premier League wasn't great for Leeds United. You know, and then you're going forward DCL. You know, you can't turn around and say you're just going to get guarantees all the time. But I think you've got to get 1 or 2, maybe 3, 1 in the attacking third. You've got to get some guarantees in there, because everything's risky. You know, everything's risky to get that reward, and at some point you have to go out and get Demirovic. And we just mentioned those are 3 clubs who we're targeting, because the last 6 clubs have come up and gone straight back down. You need to be looking at what the other teams did when they stayed up, and they were all so aggressive. All of them, every single one of them was aggressive. And I feel like that is what Leeds have to be this week. Aggressive, you know, ruthless aggression when it comes to going out and getting players. Go out and get Bakwa. Can we go out and get Demirovic? Is that something that's off the cards? We appear to have been linked with him throughout the window. Could we go and get that? Could we go out and spend, you know, 60, 70 million quid on those 2 players and give ourselves a real chance going forward? But I don't like hearing the language, and it could have just been Isaac's opinion, but I don't like hearing the language of it could be too steep when it's 30 million quid. You know, we haven't spent 30 million quid on a player yet. And I understand it's not one of these where you have to go out and spend 30 million. You could get an absolute bargain for 20 million quid, which we've done with 2 players. But I do think you need just that added quality, and that added quality is going to cost you a lot of money, especially when you're looking in the final third. So Justin looks like it's near to be completed, everybody. Delane, Bakwa, I think that's going to rumble on. But Leeds, for me, need a number 9. They need a 9. They need a little. They just need more certainty in that final third for me. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Apologies for the lack of room meal today, and we'll be getting content out over the next couple of days. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe as always. Catch out our sponsors, and I'll see you in a bit.